Hey everybody. So today I'm going to talk about something that I could finally pay attention to. While I was in recovery, I'm sure it's been around for a very long time. I was just too drunk or high to even notice. And that is, there are times where, the outcome of circumstances I'm devastated about. I think it's the worst thing that could have ever happened. And it did turn out to be a blessing in disguise. I've shared before that I wasn't prepared to have a baby. I got knocked up for all intent and purpose, and her dad didn't want to be a parent, even though he was well-to-do, and he asked for a parental right termination. And by granting it, which I did, was intentional because I wanted to protect her from being in and out of the court system because I didn't trust him. But the one thing I did lose was child support. I have never, nor will I ever, get child support. This man has never financially contributed to my daughter. And it is what it is. I still think I did the right thing. But when it comes to being in financial terror, I would look at my budget and I would have nothing left and I would be in the negative, and that was only doing the necessities every month. And I would be borrowing money from my parents, paying them at the beginning of the next month when I got paid. And this was a cycle. This happened for months and months and months. I didn't have it, and I was in financial terror. I was so stressed out and anxious and worried. And, finally I'm like, I got to get a different job and make more money. So I worked on that, and I got an offer where I would be making more money and I could finally breathe. I would be out of that horrific cycle of just financial insecurity. One of the questions that they asked in the hiring process was what I currently made. Now, I disagree with this question. The number that I gave them based on the value of the expertise I had versus what I was currently being paid. And unfortunately, one of the last processes that they had me do at the very end before I began this role that I got offered was to submit a W-2 proving that number. So I had to withdraw myself from that job offer because I lied. And I was devastated. I'm like, oh my God, I'm back in, financial terror. I can't afford this, and just this horrible stress cycle. And interestingly, a couple months later, because I kept working on getting a different job, I got hired for a different role, making more money, and they never asked, what I currently made. So what I thought was a devastating circumstance, and it was just like the worst ever, was to lose that original role. I got an even better opportunity outcome-wise a couple months later. And that has been a great teacher for me, that I try to keep that in mind, that when something doesn't work out the way I want it to work out, I do believe, and I have confidence these days, that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I don't know what the outcome might be, but if I don't get something, especially if I want it, or things don't work out the way I think they should work out, there's something greater in play here. Again, I shared before that I have a God of my understanding, that I feel safe, that I trust, that everything is going to be okay. And whatever works for you, again, I wholeheartedly support. But I no longer freak out in what I perceive as devastating circumstances, because I now have my own experience, that one being one very specifically I recall often, that everything worked out more above and beyond my wildest dreams of what the outcome could have been after I lost that role. So it's been really helpful for me to keep that stuff in mind, because I can spin out. My mind naturally wants to spin out, and I can pull it back these days by remembering that. So thanks.